from the last week.
When,
Well, Kevin would have sent it to us.
Okay, and I'm activating the recording now.
Oh, I brought my own. Here. This may be under it. No. Okay, this is mine. Do we know if we're gonna have Kevin here today?
sure he is. We got,
He's got about 5 minutes, and he usually comes in ready for us.
I know, right? I mean,
yeah,
Just in case it doesn't, just in case it doesn't, we have a plan for taking it this week.
we'll-
About the
we
Armory
will-
Trail.
What about
Are you making a presentation?
Okay, that's what I'm going to say. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear.
I don't know, I kinda know how to do it.
I read all the Travis Town things you send out, so I keep up that way.
That's great.
Yeah.
Chris. I was thinking the tip of the Armory Trail,
Yeah,
again, Armory Trail, on the grounds, right?
we did it from here.
At the train station.
Non-stop.
Oh, go down parallel there, almost, go up to the Turton Dam,
And then from there, we went down.
and then go up to Nashville. Bolivar, Ohio Park.
Mount Dora,
Come back down to Virginia side.
it's the highest part of the state. 89
And
feet.
that bill 80 told a lot of these.
Mount
And
Dora,
it would increase the mileage.
about 30 miles from where I grew up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my son and his, have a condo there that he just remodeled. He's there all the time. So we spent about a week there. Ever go to Edisto Beach, Kevin?
Where?
Edisto Beach.
Don't know where
It's
that
right
is.
north of, Mount Dora. I think I pronounced it right. If not,
So
my
it's a
wife is watching and she'll.
Beach on a lake.
Yeah, it's on the lake.
is it over here someplace? Oh, it's on the lake.
Is it like
I get like
Michigan?
Michigan's pretty cool.
Above Mount Dora Lake,
Is it-
above, Eustis,
Yeah, okay, okay.
yeah, in that area.
Lake Harold.
Yeah.
I guess I-
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have one, I forgot it.
You need Kevin?
I just forgot my computer mouse.
And then a lot of work and the travel. I did like, oh, whole day. I have to use the pad.
Oh, you can't, so.
Kevin, you need to do
That's
that.
perfect.
I've got some.
Tim Wise Carver.
Not wireless, but.
Thank you so much.
The wall, the retaining wall on the other side of the canal.
Oh, never sent. Okay,
That's an alternate way you can walk. other than-
I'll tell Debbie, I'll tell,
Starting at the.
did you send a link to Tim Wise Carver who's sitting there?
road and between-
I will send it again.
She will send it again,
He said,
okay?
I want to go down there and see what he's done.
You're not gonna do it now, right?
What I'm
Just
talking-
with it? Okay,
There's. Oh, it's one road and that's with it.
Gotta wait for it. Did you hear about Pete Dillon?
And then take it. Some people walk
okay.
along the old armory wall.
68 years old now.
Just retired in spring.
Just retired number 4.
Yeah. Good, I'm good, I'm good, yeah, we'll have a good meeting tonight,
It was unexpected,
all right?
so I don't know the details.
Oh. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, take care, all right, bye-bye. Still his road. Tim was.
Do we need to wait for her? Because I don't know whether we're on or not.
It's
We said we
recording.
were live.
It is recording.
It says live.
We are.
It's 7 o'clock.
Okay, all right. Good evening, everybody. And again, Debbie's in the other room, but thanks to Debbie for spending the night with us again. It is Monday, September 13th, 2021. I want to call the Harpers Ferry Town Council meeting to order. All members of the council are present. Kevin, would you make the obligatory read?
Sure. Note, until further notice, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry's governing and deliberative bodies will hold meetings and or hearings virtually via Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during a public comment period when applicable and when posted on the agenda. Alternatively, the public may watch meetings by YouTube video live stream or listen by telephone. These options comply with the Open Governmental Meetings Act. The Zoom webinar link to participate in town meetings and or hearings can be found on the meetings and events calendar on the town website. Visit the virtual meetings information page for further information on how to view and participate in the town's virtual meetings and or hearings.
Thank you, Kevin. Approval agenda. I understand we've got a few recommended changes. I have one first. I am recommending that we move item number 5 to follow item number 3. So that would be because we had someone online from the library. So just out of a courtesy, is it a she or a he? Out of a courtesy to her, we'll move her, if there's no objection, following Debbie's report on number 3. So number 3 will then be followed by number 5. I also know that Storm or Christian have a recommendation. Go ahead, Storm or Christian.
Yeah, I'd like to move 7C about the Armory Canal Trail to be presented with 6A on High Street.
Okay, so we have a recommendation to move 7C to follow 6A. So we have 2 recommended changes. Move number 5 to follow number 3. Move number 7C to follow number 6A. Any other changes? Hearing no other changes, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I move. Okay.
I still move Storm.
Do I have a second on the motion?
Second.
We have a second from Christian. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0. Thank you. Public comment. I understand that no one has contacted Patty, so we'll dispense with public comment. Mayor's announcement. I just have a couple short things. Today or this afternoon, I attended the quarterly Region 9 planning meeting that was held up at the Branson Civic Center. One of the interesting things that came out of that is that their new certified stormwater specialist reported for duty. And I spoke to her. And Storm, I want to give this contact information to you. It's Megan Deal. I asked her if she would be willing to come to Harpers Ferry, and absolutely. I would suggest that you contact Megan. That is the Region 9 telephone number up in Martinsburg. I didn't mention anything about you, so just introduce yourself as a conversation that I had with her. She's got all kinds of credentials, and I feel that, I don't mean to drop this on you in a meeting, but I feel that you have the most intimate knowledge of what's going on, particularly coming down the hill. And I think it would be good for her to come over there. Item number 2, thanks, Storm, for taking that on. Item number 2, if you haven't had an opportunity, I know Laura has, the gazebo fireplace is finished, and I think it looks great. I think they did a great job. As I understand it, it's now functional for not only cooking burgers, but I believe you can have, a person can put logs or something in there and have a little dance around a fire or whatever.
I made that executive decision when
Great.
he was in the process of doing it.
That was a great decision. I think they did a great job. The history on that thing is it dates back toward the end of Jim Addy's term in the early 2000s. It was picked up by Joe, and then it was transferred over to me, and then it transferred to Wayne, and then it all bounced back to me. And so I'm glad that the three previous mayors and myself finally got the job done. So
What's the coin in the fireplace?
Sorry?
The coin.
You have to ask Larry Waters.
Okay,
That's a Panamanian company.
yeah,
it's in English though.
yeah.
Hmm.
The other thing is I want to take this opportunity to publicly recognize the hard work and dedication of the Harpers Ferry Bolivar Historic Town Foundation. And I believe Ed is the leader of that group. And Ed has done a remarkable job in reviving that organization. The public service that organization does, I couldn't get in it. Lynn and I signed up too late, so that the tour that Ed and that group arranged, I guess it was on Saturday, was full. And so we missed out on that. But that organization, for the record, just started as a fledgling organization back when Jim Addy set that up in the early 2000s. And it has now grown immensely, and the amount of contributions that Ed and all the other volunteers have done is just outstanding. And so we got Storm, and who else?
Chris.
And Chris,
Oh my gosh.
and
This
Ed,
team.
and who else can I publicly recognize on that? Who else was on that committee, Chris?
Oh, my wife's on it, Lynn.
She's not a citizen of Harpers Ferry, but Maria Beckman was the real ringleader on the tour.
Okay,
It was
Maria
a
Beckman.
tremendous
Thank you.
success.
The developer of this tour, which can be picked up at the visitor center up in Bolivar.
Okay, and what Storm is holding up is a pamphlet entitled Harpers Ferry Black Heritage Walking Tour. So thank you, Storm, on that.
I might also mention
Sure,
Lynn
Chris.
Petriconis
And Lynn
was
Petriconis.
one of the presenters and involved in the committee as well.
I mean, it's great when volunteers get together and we actually accomplish something positive. And that organization, under the leadership of Ed, certainly has taken that to the next level. So thanks to all of them. What else? I think that's all that I had. Kevin?
I would like to take this moment to recognize Pete Doherty, former
Oh,
sheriff
yes.
of Jefferson County, who passed away unexpectedly yesterday evening. Like many people around the county, a lot of people around the county, I was very happy to call Pete my friend. And he was a very inspirational person to me, a great man, great demeanor, always with a smile on his face. And he will be greatly missed.
Yeah, Pete was a good friend to Harpers Ferry, a good friend of mine, and he went too soon. So
Just got to Florida.
yeah, he retired in Florida and just didn't work out. Thanks, Jeff. Okay, approval of minutes. Do we have the August 9th?
You do,
Pardon me?
you do.
Okay,
They're in the packet online. Storm had sent those out to all the council.
I don't think I sent it to all the council. I think I only sent it to you and to Mayor Vaughn.
Oh. I thought it was sent to all the council.
No, I'm sorry. It's the first time I've done minutes.
Okay.
all right, can we dispense with that one until the next meeting?
Sure. It's in the packet online, but
Yeah, I'd rather hold off to officially approve it. You got any problems with that, Kevin?
No.
Okay. And the same with July 16, because Kevin wasn't here on that one either. Is that the same situation with that?
I don't know the minutes that day.
I didn't.
All right, we'll figure this out and then we'll be right back.
well, we need to take some action here because there was a motion made at last month's town council meeting to approve minutes for 16 July. That motion was approved. I don't think that the minutes actually made it to the council, though, if they were even drafted at all. So we need to rescind the motion to approve those minutes if they weren't actually received.
All right, walk us through how we do that.
Did anybody take minutes?
You want a motion to rescind?
Mhm.
Okay, I move that we rescind approval of the minutes of the 16th of July, 2021.
I have a second on the motion. We have a second from Jim Hay. Discussion on the motion to rescind July 16, 2021 minutes.
Who did those minutes?
I don't know that anyone did. I was not here.
I was here, but I didn't take the minutes.
I was not here.
I don't know.
We'll face it. Let's, all those in favor of the motion to rescind. Okay. That was a special council meeting. I had like one agenda item, I believe.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We'll get this
We'll
act
get to
together. We're only in our second month here.
And going forward, I should be at all of the town council meetings because
see what
Oh, okay.
I have a new job working with the county, which had to be approved, which had to go through a review by the West Virginia Ethics Commission. I'll mention that. And they gave approval for that. So
What job is it? What kind of work?
it's in the voter registration and elections office. I'm deputy clerk.
Okay. Great.
It required approval because I'm the administrator for elections for the town. But they determined there was not a conflict there.
You'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, very, very happy.
You are well trained and experienced.
I definitely am.
He's no longer on the road at 2:00 in the morning, right?
That's right.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention before I gave my opening remarks, that my goal tonight is that we adjourn at 9 o'clock. So let's.
I'm on board.
It'll be the first in a long time. So we all need to, and anybody that's, has a presentation this evening, if we could keep them quick, that would be great. Deb, come on up for item number 3.
So good evening, Mayor and Council. The financial reports for this evening are for the end of July 2021. This is the close of our first month in fiscal 22. The budgeted items, as you see them, are updated for the fiscal 22 year. And our first month will represent about 8.3% of the whole year. The general fund, our carry forward amount that we're now working with is $1,094,000. When we remove that figure from the budgeted income, it brings our budgeted amount for the year of income to be $975,000. So the income that we brought in of 137 is just about 14% of our budget for the year. In the expense area, everything seems to be falling well within the budget expectations. And again, if we pull out those carry forward balances in the operating expenses, we're at about 7.3% of our budgeted expenses. On the water side, we're running about 6% on income as well as expenses. And the other things to report is that we're still closing out fiscal 21, which is not unusual. And we're beginning work on one of our audits for years in the past. So any other questions I can answer for you this evening?
Are there any borderline areas of concern then at all?
No, I wouldn't say at this time, no.
And it sounds good about revenues. Are they tracking more or less the same as last year or maybe ahead?
Yeah, no, I'd say they're probably in line. A lot of things that are on here are quarterly payments that come at the close of June, and some of those will actually get pushed back into 21. And so there'll be some shifting, but everything seems to be certainly normal for, yeah.
This might be a question for the Water Commission or the Chair of Water Commission instead, but the figure that jumped out at me was the 42% of the annual budget spent on plant chemicals. Is that just stocking up for the year?
I think that it may be, and that's also it may also have to do with expectations of getting the new operation in, which might require less. And that is an area where we have to watch, and they will be looking at a budget revision before too very long, so I do have my eye on that.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe this is the sales tax revenue.
Okay, so we're on the general fund. Yep, okay,
General fund.
Yes. Okay.
33% over
Mhm.
budget or
well, that's 33% of what we've budgeted for the year.
instead of being 1/12, it's.
Well, yeah, that's because sales revenue, that is the municipal tax, and that comes to us 1 quarter at a time rather than monthly. So what we've gotten right there is what came in from April, May, and June, and that hits in July.
So it is a little higher than we expected.
Well,
Because if they
it's,
only gave us if we get it every quarter but it's 33%, which is a third.
Mhm, you're right, yeah, it's a little heavier, but also that's a busy time of year for us. So I wouldn't be overly optimistic, yes.
Extrapolate from that
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, it's good news,
Yes.
basically.
Yes, essentially.
We have to agree where to get free.
Super briefly, is the parking revenue tracking more or less with last year?
Yeah, I think that's looking good. Yeah, that 19,000 for 1 month is a good number for sure.
Awesome.
Any other questions for Deb?
Nope.
Our chair will entertain a motion to approve our financials.
I move to approve the July 2021 financial reports for the Corporation of Harpers Ferry and the Waterworks.
Second. Got a second from Storm. Any discussion on the motion to approve the financials? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Deb.
So you have your items over 500.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The next one is the items over 500, which we do not have any now, but I do want to dial you into the fact that the elevator is not operating again.
Right.
So the mayor has signed the paperwork for us to accept them to come on back in and do a repair job. Last time we got super lucky. That was a really quick little fix there, but we have no idea what is wrong. And we have reviewed options for various contracts to be, annual things, but none of that really seems to be in a way to be beneficial essentially to us. So just letting you know that we'll be getting that resolved, and that will be something that will come probably forward next month as a bill to be paid and not anticipated.
Okay, so it'll be above and beyond what's budgeted.
Probably going to take our maintenance number for the building a little bit higher than we would have wanted. So that's not a big concern in terms of revising the budget because it'll fall within the city hall area, but it's something that we probably wouldn't have. I'm expecting it's going to be a little higher than we thought.
Elevators and emphasis.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Okay.
We can go now following treasurer's report. Let's go to item number 5. And that was the Miss Sarah Curley.
right. And in Sarah's place, Janet Harrison is going to be joining us.
Janet.
And I'm promoting her to a panelist now. So when you come in, she's just give her a minute here to.
Her last name is Harrison.
Yes, sir. That is what I see on the screen. And for some reason there we go. Okay, here she comes. All right, so let's give her a minute. She can adjust her video and audio. And you're on mute, Janet, so you want to unmute.
Okay.
Perfect. There we go.
Okay, can you see me?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, basically what Sarah told me, that I'm president of the board of trustees for the library. First of all, Janet Harris. And we have an opening for a new person in Harpers Ferry because Sue Schmidt has come off. Now, the board is not responsible for the day-to-day running of the library. We just set policy. We meet once a month. And sometimes have meetings in between. I don't know if you have any questions about what we're looking for. But my understanding is that what the council will have to do is then advertise a position and solicit letters for people who are interested.
Janet, what is the number of people on the board and what's the makeup as far as between the two towns or elsewhere?
Okay, there are 5 people on the board. There are 2 people from Harper's Ferry. I'm one of the representatives from Harper's Ferry. There are 2 people from Bolivar, and there's 1 person from the county at large. And you appoint 2 people, Bolivar appoints 2 people, and the county commission appoints 1 person. So that's how it works.
Okay.
So
I'm glad,
for people right now.
I'm glad to know you're on it because you were going to be my suggestion.
Okay, so the unfortunate thing about this is like every other commission and committee and everything else that we have. We have such a small group of willing volunteers to serve on these town functions. We will do our best to get the word out, to serve on this.
I believe Sarah has spoken to some people, but who might be willing to do it. But we need to have it advertised and the letter solicited.
So we have a few candidates.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just need to have the process.
Okay.
So we
Yeah,
can
we're
advertise
working.
it.
We've been talking to some of the patrons who have been very active and seeing whether or not any of them would be interested in coming to the board.
Okay, and then we can advertise here too in the newsletter, and then we can post it also. Okay?
Okay, any other questions you have for me?
I didn't ask for much.
Any questions?
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's
Do
a
you have
joy.
anything-
The library is a tremendous resource for the community. Until I was on the board, I did not realize all the different things that the library does. I mean, beyond just lending books. So
Is-
it's, I encourage you to, the town council become familiar with the library and all the programs that we offer.
Do you have something in writing that we can share with like in a newsletter? That about
No,
the
but I could
position?
write something. I could write something about it if you want me to.
Oh, that'd be
Who would
great.
I send it?
The clerk.
Who do you want me to send it to? To the clerk, to Kevin?
Clerk.
Yeah, Patty Morris.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Pardon? No, I think that's all I had.
Okay, any other questions, council? Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to start from 0. She has something written. Let's see what she's got.
Okay, item number 4A, East Police Department, I guess the chief is here. Great.
All right, Chief, you're muted, so you want to unmute yourself? You're ready to go.
Good evening, council and mayor.
Maybe.
Just wanted to do the report for August 2021. We had no accidents for the month, no call outs, 12 assists, 102 citations, and 162 incidents for the month. I would just like to say I also met with Councilmember Storm and Councilman Cross at different times, and we got to speak. It's nice to get to know the council and the expectations that are expected of the department and the professionalism that they like seeing coming from the department, and how we're trying to be more of a community police oriented department, as I've always pushed for. And it's also it's a continuing pleasure to meet with the mayor to address the concerns that he has and hears about, and trying to work through those things as well. I see the department moving forward a little bit more every time I meet with the council and the mayor, and it's a privilege to be working for a great council that's willing to serve its community and serve it in the right way. Any questions?
Just thank you, Chief, for taking the time to sit down and for me to learn more about the police department, and now I have an even greater respect than I already did for what you do and your whole team. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to mention also, just for everybody's benefit, that when the chief talked about community oriented policing, John and I sat down, I guess my first week with Mayor, and I talked about the importance of community policing. And what we did is that we agreed that his Friday, Saturday, and Sunday officers, during busy times, would get out of the cruisers several times during their shift and walk up and down Shenandoah Street and Potomac Street, where we have hundreds, if not thousands, of people. I think it's real important. I think it's important that the officers go into our restaurants and our souvenir shops and everything else, and just say, hey, howdy, and you know what's going on.
Great.
John is in total agreement that he is old school from Shepherdstown, where they do those kinds of. And I've seen some positive benefits on that. So John, I think it's working, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for the chief?
It builds an amazing rapport with the community.
Yes, it's good, yes.
Certainly does. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Ordinance compliance officer is Kevin. Okay, you should have a copy of Kevin Hamilton's report. He's been fairly busy. I'm keeping him quite busy. And I just want you all to know, and I want the residents to know and the public to know that I've instructed Kevin, our ordinance compliance officer, to enhance his efforts and his focus on Harpers Ferry's neglected properties. We all know that neglected properties have a negative impact on all property owners, and not necessarily those that are just right next door to a negative, a neglected property. We are bringing those that fail to bring their property into compliance into municipal court, and I told Kevin I want him to renew the efforts on that. We have the authority under West Virginia Code and through Home Rule to do that, and we're going to continue to do that. We have some problem properties that are abandoned right now in Harpers Ferry that are presenting some fairly significant issues, and we brought a couple of those property owners that own it, but they don't live here and the houses are abandoned, and we brought them to municipal court repeatedly. And so our next step is, just before I left as mayor previously in 2017, I was in the process of putting together and developing an abandoned and neglected and derelict property ordinance, which we have the authority under Home Rule to do that. And I'm going to reinvigorate that. Charlestown put that in under Peggy Smith when she was mayor. And there's a lot more authorities that you can do. It requires a property owner, they would be required to register their property as an abandoned property. They would have to pay a registration fee. There would be some degrees of fixing up that they would have to stabilize that structure. It just gives us and gives Kevin a lot more latitude in bringing compliance to some of our property owners who, for whatever reason, refuse to bring their properties up to standard. I know some property owners probably don't have the means to do it, but look at what we've done in a couple short weeks with Storm and Landmarks Commission with the Weaver property. We are working graciously with the Weaver family. They are very grateful for the assistance that we are providing them. So there is some help that can assist property owners out there. But it's been my experience that many of these property owners, they're just negligent, and I'm just going to force the issue with them. So anyway, I wanted you all to know that, and hopefully we can move forward and follow that.
It does sound like then that the first attempt is going to be engagement, and then Good.
That's always the first attempt, so absolutely.
Right.
What we try to do is to meet, and we've met with some of the fairly substantial neglected property owners many times, and we've met with them, and we brought them in here to the municipal court, and they paid their fines, but they just, they just keep on keeping on, so we're gonna take the next step, and I'll be putting together and developing this ordinance. It'll be a complicated ordinance, but it will give us, just like Charlestown, so much more latitude in dealing with neglected historic properties that we have here in Harvest area.
And when you let them go too far, they're not restorable.
Yeah,
I mean, we lose them.
yes,
So
absolutely.
it's important that we keep up with them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Good
point. Town council, I just don't know, the ad hoc committee,
Well, we had, I think, reported out last time, and basically, the big thing was to allow meetings in the town, the deliberative meetings, to allow them to either go Zoom all the way or face to face. I think most of them have opted for Zoom, but have continued their Zoom, like planning commission and historic landmarks. I think the BCA as well. But the good thing is Patty put in today's meeting, which is really good in red on the agenda, and this is exactly what we wanted, was to have the public comment on agenda items. And so we have a mechanism now, because they can't come to town hall, but they can through Zoom, and I'm gonna remind Patty to remind all the chairs that they should put that on their agendas,
Right.
including me. I missed one or two.
at my Region 9 meeting this afternoon, I did speak with several of the mayors that were there, and they're running in the same situation as us. So, this is nothing new. I don't know where this variant is going to take us. So we just got to, take it one month at a time. And that's exactly what Branson and Shepherdstown and Charlestown and Bolivar are doing also.
Obviously, I'm very much believing that masks are part of how we tackle this. And, I would hope that would be something, especially if Delta or other variants continue to run rampant, that we look at that as something we at least recommend if meetings are being held with those.
Good point.
Okay, for the town council ad hoc ARPA committee, again, I'm not sure what's.
I'll give you that. Chris did the notes from our meeting. I just had to read them. So at the end of the meeting, we decided that one of the critical water infrastructure projects will be chosen to be devoted to the APRA money. It hasn't been finalized yet from the Water Commission yet, what the project would be. Isn't that how you saw it at that meeting? Remember?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I think it was a matter of, it will include the 8-inch main.
Yes,
but
yes.
It may be more if we want to make the project
We're letting you guys make that decision.
more palatable to prospective bidders.
And that was the only project, by the way, that met the qualifications, correct? That on the ARPA.
Well,
No,
water and broadband.
What? Right.
Water
And
related,
broadband.
Broadband,
Broadband was another price.
yeah.
Could have been.
but not but other projects than just that else run would qualify.
Yeah.
But yes, they need to be water related.
And it was 120.
No, 62, we decided, we're
62,
talking about
62.
62,000. Next year,
62 more.
we'll talk about
Okay. Budget and finance.
it. Oh, me, hang on, now you got me. It happens every time. Okay, budget and finance, and that's, is that, okay. Need one, okay. All right. I should print these.
This is the locks.
These are the locks, and this. So here we go. The town the town hall locks. We have switched to. The prior town council uses a zillion keys to get in this place, and so we're going to be switching to a pad system, and so it will be easier It's the way we used to have it. I'm not sure what happened to the other lock system. I guess it wasn't working properly. So we went to the key system, but it is a pain compared to just knowing the code. Just punching code in. So that's what they're going to be doing. And I'm still trying to open it up so I can talk about it. We have solicited some bids, and the Budget and Finance Committee selected Harper's Ferry Lock and Key. We recommended that we this organization or this new company from our original supplier, and another one that didn't bid. So this is the bid that we accepted. So I move. Where's my? I move that we accept the bid up to $900 to change the locks in the town hall as soon as possible.
We have a second on the motion.
Second.
I have a second from Chris. Any discussion on the motion to change out?
What locks does this include?
This is the interior of the door up to the stairs. Both of them, the one on the side and one on the back of the here, and the door to the director's office, and deadbolts and commercial lock rekeyed.
5 of them.
5 of them. This is going to be a major change.
Deadbolts are added, or are they?
They're going to be rekeyed.
They're
They're going to be rekeyed with new keys. So get ready for the keys. For I guess this is the interior. Yeah. It's a very reasonable price, and I think we need to move back to this combination.
It's a total of 14 locks, including the 2 keypad locks.
Any other discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0. And make sure that the combination, Christian, that we put in for the keypad is not 1, 2, 3, 4.
We'll take that into consideration.
It'll be 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay, next item is the I don't know why I don't wait. I got to get the right stuff in front of me here. Oh, I have. Yeah, the motion part. Yeah, that's the part I want. Well, I got that part. Hang on. It's taking a while to open up. That's the benches. Yeah, this is the park. Now we're talking about the park. This is to upgrade the park behind us on Franklin and Washington Street. We want to get it cleaned up. That includes weeding and bed maintenance, and to do flowers for the place and restore the fountain, that iron fountain that's there, and make sure that it works. It is an important feature as people come in. A lot of people come up Union Street, and that's kind of the first kind of early thing they see. And so we want to make a positive impression. The Women's Club has run this or has maintained this piece of property for the town for a long period of time, but they feel are not able to do this. So they're handing it over to the town. And also, and that's just for lawn services and the fountain.
Well, it's the fall refresh of the landscaping, plus getting the fountain up and running again. And that'll be revisited in the spring for services going forward. And thank you to the Women's Club for providing that service for all these years.
The Women's Club is at the point that they only have like 1 or 2 volunteers to do this, and they just can't keep up with it. They requested some assistance from Larry, but Larry's hours are maxed out. He did do some fairly extensive work over there. You'll see a big bare spot where he took out a lot of the dead shrubs that were in there. But we can't have Larry take on that project too, because he's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And we also had the tree committee ask for Larry to take over their responsibilities, and I've told them the same thing, that we just can't do that.
We can clone Larry.
We can what?
Clone Larry.
Yeah, right. We can do that. So that's what this is about, is to bring this up to shape. And is it benches on this one? No, it's on.
No, that's the next one.
Is there anything else you want to add? Chris?
I'll do, we did the Budget and Finance Committee did accept the bid from Cornerstone. And we are recommending that we select Cornerstone Lawn Services. Oh, thank you. Here we go. Saving my bacon. All right. I move that we accept the Cornerstone bid up to $3,000 for landscaping cleanup, weeding, bed maintenance, flower installation, and fountain restoration from account number 906 arts/humanities/preservation for park maintenance.
Second. I have a second from Storm. Yeah. Any discussion on the motion first?
Did other companies bid on this?
They did. It was difficult finding people to do bids for this.
Okay. So this was.
It's getting very difficult to find any help.
A lot of
With the
competition.
fireplace
Yeah.
is one. Okay, so
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Thank you.
And I want to thank Carol Carter, is one of the leaders on all the work month after month, year after year. For the work
Oh,
on that,
yeah.
and other members of the Women's Club who work with her.
okay, so the other item, hang on, let me find it.
It's a discussion action regarding funding for 3 new benches.
Yes, so thank you, Chris, saving me again. Okay. The Budget and Finance Committee looked into the issue again at the same park. And the Women's Club has benches there. They're going to continue to own these benches, but they're going to move them to the Women's Club building. And we will then need to purchase 3 replacement benches. They're going to match the existing benches that we have at the Pavilion Park. Black, same things. We got 3 bids, and the town will then take over maintenance from the Women's Club on these benches. So I move that we approve up to $1,500 for the purchase of 3 park benches.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second from Storm. That should be also coming out of that same account. Right there.
Yeah. And from account number 906 Arts Humanities Preservation for the park benches.
Any discussion on the motion?
Good price, really good
It is
price
good
for
price.
3
Yeah.
benches.
Yeah.
Really good.
All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. You're on a roll, Christian. You got another one.
Oh my gosh, what? On the next page, there's landscaping and the 3 benches. Oh, the magistrate fee. Oh, okay. Thank you, Chris. He's saving me again. The Office of Magistrate that meets here in Town Hall has a where they travel in here, the Town Hall, for call-ins. These aren't scheduled, these are unscheduled type arraignments. And the town has not changed the fee for at least 20, probably ever. The Civil War, I'm just kidding, but it's really a long time. So we want to bring this back to reality in today's dollars. So I move to raise the rate for the magistrates to attend call-in municipal court or traffic court to $50 per occurrence to be effective on September 14th, 2021.
Second.
You got something?
It's not magistrate's court. Okay, let me explain.
Municipal court.
Let me just explain what happens. A police officer is out there. It's at 12 o'clock midnight, and he stops a vehicle for whatever, and he runs the tags, and it comes back that the operator of that vehicle has unpaid parking tickets or whatever. The officer escorts him over here. They call the magistrate. The magistrate at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning gets out of bed, gets in the car, drives over here. Only the magistrate can process this case. The individual is being detained by Harpers Ferry Police. It is a misdemeanor, it's not a felony. All felonies end up in Berkeley County. The magistrate here, we have a couple of them. Susan Waters is one of our magistrates. She basically handles these kinds of things during the daytime. We have another magistrate, Desiree, I don't know Desiree,
Yes, that's right. I know.
her last name, Paris, thank you. And we may have a third, I'm not sure. It's their responsibility. They make the decision. They listen to the officer, they listen to the defendant, then they make a decision. Do you have $250 to pay for this? No, I don't. Okay, well then, you're going to get escorted up to Berkeley until you can get somebody. They have been doing this at $25 a pop, probably since the 1990s. I was a magistrate here in 2004 for about 3 or 4 months, and I realized I didn't want to get called out of bed at 3 o'clock.
You didn't care for that.
So it was $25 in 2004. So this makes logical sense to the rate that we're paying them to disrupt their family at 3 o'clock in the morning to come in here and makes these decisions. So I don't know where that would stand on what Christian said. Ted?
We're talking about the same thing. I think what we need to do is adjust the purpose of the fee for an arraignment.
Yeah.
While he's noting that, this, one of the other reasons is if we're going to be needing to recruit people for this position, that we need it to be a proper incentive and something that is scaled to the level of responsibility and the nature of that job.
Christian, I think may have been okay. Kevin has his.
You think, Kevin?
I'm doing a search on, is that amount set by ordinance, do you know?
I
I think so. Some of those fees are set by ordinance.
don't know.
I have a searchable database.
Yeah,
so-
I'm checking that.
Well, we can approve it pending.
I'm just gonna keep looking right now. So
Yeah.
Well, it's every word that starts with MA. I do not see any specific dollar figure associated with this in the ordinances. The word magistrate appears 3 times in the ordinances.
But it may be even listed as something other than.
I see. I'm checking the number 25 to see
Were you
if it
talking
appears
about?
anywhere. It still might take me 3 minutes, maybe 2.
Was it
77
town
seconds.
code
It'll take me
or
77
state?
seconds.
Okay.
$250.
That's a fine.
That's a fine.
That's a tax.
And that's-
That's a fee. That's a penalty. Huh. That's a fee. That's a fee.
We got a lot of fees in here.
Yeah, go fees. Look at that.
They're not high enough. We need to look at this.
That's an assessment. That's percentage. It's a
Could
return
we-
check fee.
Could we amend the motion to say providing that further research reveals no conflict with town code?
We can approve this and then do that as an amendment.
I'll keep crawling through this document. So there were more items than I thought initially, so I'll have the answer for it. Soon. But I think if we do the motion.
So we got to withdraw the motion.
Yeah. Well, there's been a motion and second, so we have to vote on it. We can vote it down.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion?
No. Me.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Motion failed. All right, come up with another motion pending approval, pending whatever Chris just said.
Providing that further research reveals no conflict with town code.
You got that, Christian?
Providing what? Providing,
That further research reveals no conflict with town code.
That's your motion.
You okay with that,
ordinances.
Kevin?
Okay, I move to raise the rate for magistrates for arraignments for call-in municipal court / traffic court to $50 per occurrence to be effective. Did I say wrong again?
Just take out that municipal.
Take out the
It's
municipal
just
traffic
for
court.
Arraignments.
Just arraignment.
arraignment.
Okay,
Just
can I, do I use call-in?
Yes.
Arrangement, okay. I'll drop that, start again. I move to, don't second me, guys, tell them great. I move to raise the rate for magistrates for arraignments for call-in to $50 per occurrence to be effective September 14th, 2021, providing that further research reveals no conflict with town ordinances.
I have a second.
I second.
Second from Chris. Any discussion on that lengthy motion?
I will say I just completed the search of the document and saw no specific mention, but we should do it more thoroughly. We should look at doing more thoroughly later. Anyway.
All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Motion 7-0. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, Water Department, Deb, you want to get Mr. Bell on the phone, please?
Man, I'm off the hook. All right.
All right, we got 1 hour and 10 minutes, guys. We got to do this. This will be the first council meeting in years.
Okay. I don't know, my computer is on.
Am I there yet?
You're there. Okay, you are there. That's weird. All right. That is really weird. I can't click on anything but you have appeared, but your video is not on.
Right, and I've got the video's on at this end.
Mm-hmm. It's really
It's
strange.
not even giving me an option to turn video on.
Yeah, I think there's just something funky going on with my computer here because
Well,
I'm having trouble with my mouse. But we've got your audio, and I'm trying to do something with Christar, but I'm sorry, it's just not letting me do anything.
Okay, that's fine. Y'all know what I look like.
Yep.
The water loss for the month of August was 18.44%, which is down about 2% from the previous month. We did some repairs, one of which was up here on Prospect, that contributed to that reduction. Water delivered to customers in the month of August was 3,753,300 gallons for the month, which is the second highest for the year to date, which is good. Severe weather throughout the month interfered both with our water intake down at Elks Run and the ongoing construction at the plant, but there was no interruption in customer service and the construction continues apace. 8 separate leak repair locations with roadway involvement received asphalt repairs during the month of August, which are now completed. Leak detection efforts are ongoing, including leak detection on the town's network of fire hydrants, which was just completed. 6 of those required tightening due to minor leakage, which may further reduce our water loss numbers. Our ongoing sludge removal efforts with respect to the 2 post-processing sedimentation pits was interrupted due to the construction at the plant, although the failure of the grinder pump on our old septic system was rendered moot by the installation of the new septic vault system, which was the cause of the interruption. So it's a wash. We came out ahead there, dodged a bullet with that grinder pump. But now we all know more about grinder pumps than we ever wanted to. One of our water plant crew has given notice, sadly, and will be starting a new job elsewhere as of September 21st. And that's the general report.
Any questions for Bill on the general report? Okay, Bill, go ahead.
All right. Next item is our, if I can get to it. All right, the Corporation of Harpers Ferry engineers report for the construction of the plant. The contractor Alvarez has completed pouring the effluent trough walls at the pre-sedimentation basin. That's the big tub above the plant. They continue forming and pouring the walls of the intake wet well and have begun replacing the roof and insulation at the treatment plant building. That was one of the add-ons for the project, and a significant one in that we had some pretty significant leakage in our ceiling, and that has since been remedied, or is in the process of being remedied. They also installed the new sanitary precast concrete holding tank and associated piping, which was scheduled for a little bit later, but fortuitously was ready to go in at the time that our grinder pump gave up the ghost. Alvarez plans to complete roof and insulation installation. They plan to complete the wall construction at the pre-sedimentation basin effluent trough and the raw water intake structure, and continue installing various underground piping. They plan to begin the precast vault construction. GDNF's RPR Dave Gusky has continued on-site full-time inspection duties and has been coordinating efforts between Alvarez and Harpers Ferry personnel. GDNF has received 46 submittals to date, most of which have been reviewed and returned. All 4 Paul microfiltration system submittals have been reviewed, along with several other equipment and material submittals. Several requests for information, RFIs, have also been processed. Alvarez received a payment for pay application number 4 in the amount of $245,588.94 and submitted application for payment number 5 in the amount of $244,693.71. This application has been reviewed and approved by GDNF. This application, along with monthly engineering costs through July of $24,571.50, will be submitted to the USDA as part of resolution requisition number 6, which totals $269,265.21. This amount should be deposited directly into the corporation's USDA account, at which time payment is received. The corporation will mail checks to Alvarez and GDNF. The 4th progress meeting was, I think this is a typo. The 4th progress meeting was held on September 2 at 9 a.m. and was held on site and via Zoom. Progress photos, for those of you who have this report, the progress photos are attached. And the resolution number 6 of the town of Harpers Ferry approving the invoices relating to the construction and other services for the water project and authorizing payment thereof. Whereas the town of Harpers Ferry has reviewed the invoices attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference in relation to the construction of the water project funded by the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, and find as follows: that none of the items for which payment is proposed have been requested from another source, that each item for which the payment is proposed to be paid is or was necessary in connection with the project and constitutes a cost of the project, that each of such costs has been otherwise properly incurred, that payment for each of the items proposed is due and owing. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of Harpers Ferry that the payment of the attached invoices as summarized below are hereby authorized and directed. For Gwynn Dobson and Foreman, project engineer, $24,571.50. For Alvarez Contractors, Inc., performing the construction, $244,693.71 for a total of $269,265.21. And at this point, we need to vote on it. Well, you need to vote on it. I can't hear you guys anymore.
And neither can I.
There you go. Ah. Okay. Apologies. I think that was me. All right, we have discussion and action regarding the Water Commission's recommendation of the rebidding of the Elks Run 8-inch main relocation project. I think we've probably already discussed this project at length regarding the bid, but what we wanted to do is codify our intentions to rebid this, and we have asked that the town council approve our recommendation that we immediately start the rebidding process so that we can get this project underway. Are there any questions about the project that, I mean, we've kind of covered it all before, but all right, Deb, I can't hear you again.
Bill, can you hear them?
I cannot. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't hear them.
No, I can't hear them either.
Okay. So we're tied, we're connected, but we're not connected to them. I don't know if they can hear us.
No idea.
Check my email. Well, they seem to be moving along pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Oh, it worked.
Is that better?
Yep.
Yay, I can hear everybody.
Can someone,
That's technical. I mean, what are they gonna do? Send a compliance police here? and arrest
can someone in, who is a,
Well,
an attendee speak out?
Yes, I can hear.
Oh, okay. Can someone who's an attendee speak up, please? Here we go. All right, can you hear us now? Okay.
I can hear you.
Hang on.
I've got like an echo.
Okay, hold on. Is that better?
Yep. Yay, I can hear everybody.
Can someone, can someone in, who is a, an attendee speak out?
Yes, I can hear.
Oh, okay. Can someone who's an attendee speak up, please? Here we go. All right, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
Is that better?
Yep. Yay, I can hear everybody.
Can someone?
That is so funny.
An attendee speak. All right, I think you're right. We're gonna close everything down. Okay, so, can someone who's an attendee speak up, please? Here we go. All right, can you hear us now? It's really weird. It's like the YouTube thing is, I'm just gonna shut it completely down.
Okay, now I can't hear anything again.
I can hear you, Bill.
Right.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay.
I hear Deb.
Hear Deb too.
My goal is we're trying. Well, we can do it with an asterisk. We'll just chat how long.
Okay, Bill, can you hear us?
Yes. I can hear you.
Okay, like why are we not getting sound?
Well, I can hear you, but
there we
I
go.
can't see you anymore.
Okay, that's okay, but you can hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right, that's fine. We'll get the video back here in a second.
I'm less worried about the video.
We had to reboot the whole system. There was a glitch.
That's fine. I can be there in 5 minutes if I need to.
We're now on the water manager report, right? We're now on 6.
Bill, let me tell you what I think we did.
Okay.
Somebody help me out here.
Well, we did a motion for the recommendation of rebidding your
Yeah,
Alpine.
we approved the motion to rebid the 8-inch main. And we
Awesome.
also approved resolution number 6.
Good.
Okay.
We also approved the. That's right.
So I think that,
Then we're done.
yeah, I think you're done.
You're done, Chris, style.
Okay, now it's Chris Steyer.
Okay. Well, there, I really don't have much more to add, except I would like to say that I have given tours to several of the council members and there's a couple more members that I would like to give a tour to, and anytime that you want to do it, Fridays and Saturdays are the preferable days for me. And Friday is a good day because there are no construction. Alvarez doesn't work on Fridays, so it's a lot more quiet. So just drop me an email and of any council member that would like to give a tour. It takes about 2 hours, and it would give you a little better understanding of what's going on at the water plant.
Yeah, Chris, thank you for Mrs. Storm giving me that tour, and I highly recommend it. It's fascinating in and of itself. And when we're talking about these water issues, it'll really bring it to life.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's go to ordinance review, ORC, discussion action on first reading approval ordinance, water creating the Seattle Water Commission. I did speak, Kevin, with Helen Depper today, told her that we are having the first reading tonight, and so she's good with that.
Okay, so item 4G1 here is an ordinance it was discussion and action on first reading for approval of ordinance 2021-06. So this is an ordinance to amend Article 901 of the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry, creating a seat on the Water Commission for a voting representative resident in the Corporation of Bolivar. Currently, the ordinance allows for one person on the Water Commission to be a resident within the Harpers Ferry Waterworks service area who is outside the Corporation of Harpers Ferry. The Corporation of Bolivar would like to have a representative from Bolivar on the Water Commission, and then we would still have one other seat on the Water Commission who is occupied by someone in the service area, but within unorganized or unincorporated Jefferson County. So that's the change that's being made here.
There's a motion. How are we handling that? I forgot. How do we do first reads?
Motion to approve first reading of and then read the title.
I have a question before you do that. Because there's some cross-outs here, right? And then the part that's underlined is the new part. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
That's explained on the bottom of it.
So the part that says, all of whom should be qualified by knowledge and experience in matters pertaining to the operation of Corporation Harpers Ferry and the waterworks, was that already in there?
Yes. Yes.
Because we don't really require that they have it. And I was surprised. I did not realize that was in there already.
I think that might actually be from something in state code. A lot of the language in our ordinances related to commissions and committees comes from state code as far as membership goes.
Okay, all right, but it's not new, and the essential part of it, that is the part we need. So
right.
That sounds good to me.
Thanks a lot. Chair, I would take a motion to approve the first reading.
I will make a motion to approve the first reading of this change to our ordinance.
Go ahead and read the ordinance.
Yeah, read it from the agenda.
So I would like to offer a motion for the approval of ordinance 2021-06 water that creates a seat on the Water Commission for a voting representative resident in the from the Corporation of Bolivar.
Second on the motion.
Second.
Second from Ms. Norman. Any discussion on the motion to approve the policy? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. 7-0. Thank you. Second one is just a quick background on this one. We received an inquiry from an individual several weeks ago. My recollection is the individual wanted to get a business license, because they wanted to bring a food truck in Harvest Ferry because they knew that they looked at our ordinance, there's nothing in our ordinance prohibiting food truck. So I looked at that and I said, you know, the last thing we need is for the food truck to pull up with the gazebo and open up the thing selling corn dogs and funnel cakes and playing circus music. So I felt that maybe we ought to take a look at what other municipalities have done, prohibiting these types of things from coming in, with the exception of special events. So I put this together, Patty and I, and then submitted it, and then Kevin. So, Kevin.
Sure. So this is item 4G2 on the agenda. Discussion and action on first reading for approval of ordinance 2021-07, parking of commercial and recreational vehicles. An ordinance to amend Article 320 of the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry related to the parking and standing of commercial or recreational vehicles and food trucks.
Motion to approve.
I move to approve ordinance number 2021-07, parking of commercial and recreational vehicles related to the parking and standing of commercial or recreational vehicles and food trucks.
Second on the motion. Any discussion on the motion?
I might mention to your draft, Mayor Vaughn, we did make one change. I was concerned about the statement that commercial vehicles would only be parked for loading and unloading, and I thought that that was possibly going to cause problems for people spraying for bugs or treating the lawn, and so we amended it slightly to mention or providing service at residences or businesses. So that was the only change.
I believe that's a substantive change.
Well, it's included in the ordinance as presented for first reading. So.
Okay.
I'm actually a very big fan of food trucks generally, but I think I appreciate the fact that our geography here and the space that we have doesn't create a situation where it can just be a regular point of business. And I'm guessing that's why it was the exception for events. Say if we wanted to have a food truck night, we assembled someplace we can still do that, correct? Right. Great.
And also, this is not directly with the motion, but as a B&B owner, I can tell you there's a severe shortage of food establishments within our community. And I mean, we've got to do something. I know we can't have the food trucks because of the space issue, but we need to encourage food establishments here, and we need them in more days and hours. There are certain days of the week that there's no food at all in Harpers Ferry. Mondays, Tuesdays.
Was maybe something that we can revisit. It may require if later we have an idea on how to solve that, we may need to adjust the ordinance, rather than squeaking it in under saying it's an event every day.
Right. I'm just letting you know that it is a bit of a problem.
Laura and I were talking Sunday about high quality food trucks. When I'm working in DC, I pass food trucks that are 5 stars. If we could maybe get something out here at some point in the parking lot, and have like a gastric culture, whatever you want to call it, but get really high quality stuff. Yeah,
sure.
I think that would be beneficial to us.
Yeah. What I agree right now, it's basically a loophole that's identified. We're just preventing everybody and their dog from coming with a food truck for now, and we reduce it later.
And I want to mention also that the Flip Flop Festival, which is going to one day come back to our town, which is getting bigger and bigger every year. Food trucks have requested to come to that festival.
That's an exception, and we can certainly can grant. And this gives the authority for me or my designee to do that. So, sure.
And this is addressing just parking on public streets as well.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All in favor, motion to adjourn. Yes, sir. Thank you. The third one is discussion action on preparation of first reading. This is a fence ordinance. This is a continual public work for Kevin Hamilton. Every time Kevin gets a Fence department, if it's a fence to review a permit, it has to turn it over to the Board of Zoning Appeals because we do not have a watering ordinance. So I decided to take a shot at this, and now I know why we don't have fence ordinance and why it's taken so long. This was a complicated thing to put together. So I have a 4-page ordinance here. It's not ready for first review because there's so much in here. I've been to, I don't know how many sources putting this thing together. What my intention would be, I want to give copies of this to the Historic Landmarks Commission. I want them to look at it. And then I want to give it to Kevin Hamilton and have Kevin look at it because he is the one that knows what types of fences have come to his attention. I also have copies here. If any of you want to take a copy with you and tear it up and all that sort of stuff, I would gladly like the input. I've made a lot of calls in here, not calls on the phone, but positions regarding historic fences and stuff. So we'll just see where we end up with it. Kev?
Yeah, so I would add that this is something that we've been working on as a town since 2016, so 5 years. It has come before the town council for approval of various drafts of an ordinance at least 3 times now. And there have been various objections made to the proposed ordinances each time. It's been sent back to the Planning Commission a couple of times, and it actually originated out of the Planning Commission in 2016, as I remember. And I think the last action that we took as a council, it was sent to the Planning Commission and the Historic Landmarks Commission for review and recommendation to be sent back to the Town Council and Ordinance Review Committee. And I don't think we ever received anything back from those 2 bodies. I'm not sure that it was properly transmitted to them. Actually, the mayor at that time was going to be taking care of that. I'm not sure if he actually did. So that's just a very brief bit of the long history that has followed this fence debacle.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can put it to bed. We take a look at this thing that I put together. If I can find, I've been in contact with David Simmons, thinking at the BZA. He thought that he had one. They don't have any draft or anything. So if there is anything out there else in writing, maybe between that and what I have here, marry them both together and come up with something that's meaningful to Harper's Ferry. This is a result of many, probably I researched 6 historic municipalities and taking information from 6. Alexandria, Virginia, one in New York, one in California, Shepherdstown, and then 3 other ones somewhere else around the country. I forget exactly. Akron, Ohio, I think was one, but they were all historic towns. So anyway, take a look at it, get it back to me. I'll get with Kevin or whatever. Maybe we can come up, Kevin, with the ones that maybe, planning still has it or whatever. I don't know.
I provided those drafts to the other members of the Ordinance Review Committee along with a written history of this issue.
Okay.
So the other night we had Chris came up with a possible solution
to one, the one crucial, the one urgent thing as far as the BZA, where it keeps coming up that our ordinances do not allow fences in the setback. And my feeling was that we could fix that with a 5-cent addition to the one ordinance. But so that may be an option going forward too. If it takes a while to do the Cadillac version, we may be able to do the
We just need to do something.
Yeah. So,
Should we have our town attorney look at it too?
Sure. I don't think we're at the point yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we have too many tentacles out there. All I want to do is bring the tentacles in together, put something together that makes sense.
It's been looked at and reviewed by a couple of town attorneys before, of course. And I think Mark Sad might have even gotten involved in some of the early parts of this issue. But it's very complicated because you're not only dealing with setbacks, you're dealing with property rights. If you put a fence on a property line, both property owners on each side of it, you know, have some say or may need to have some say. I mean, there's a lot of issues that have to be considered. It's not really just a simple thing to fix. It seems like it should be, but it's really not.
And that's if you know where your property line is. I mean, a lot of us don't know.
Okay, let's go to the planning commission.
I have Mr. Washcraft, Bradley's invitation. Tried very hard. Oh, there he is. Okay, and hopefully we can get him in here. Ah, things seem to be working better now. Okay, let me see if I can take these guys back out. All right. Okay, there's Tim.
Hello.
Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Got a short report. Really, the last meeting was fine. A big improvement, I think. Nothing of substance took place really, except there was a fence issue. The ordinance control officer sent us a request for a permit of a fence that was already established by, I think it's Mr. Keeler up on the Putnam area. And we talked about it for a long time and ended up kicking the can down the road, asking the ordinance control officer to, well, we didn't ask him, but we hoped that somebody would go talk to the owner. And in the interim, I got a letter from the ordinance control officer and that the request for a permit has been withdrawn. So that's all I know about that. The other thing is, I heard you mention something about something being sent to the planning commission. I've received nothing whatsoever since I've been the president about any ordinances like you were talking about. And I started my tenure in December of 2019. So we've received nothing from anybody about working on any ordinances. That's it.
Any questions?
We have another thing. We're still short a member. We have 6 members. I conveyed to the planning commission the decision of the previous town council about starting over, and on the
Comprehensive plan.
yes, thank you. Thank you. That we weren't going to do anything until we got up to a full complement of 7 members. We had a new member join us, Mr. Paul Mayhew, so we're up to 6.
And I'm working on the 7th one, so just bear with us.
Yeah.
Tim, this is Kevin. I would just mention that what I was talking about, the ordinance being sent back to the Planning Commission and Historic Landmarks Commission, that happened the month before you joined. It was in November of 2019.
So let's see.
Then it probably got lost in the, I mean, you know what? I'll bet Nancy gave it to me and who knows what the hell I did with it. So. Right.
Anything else for planning commission?
Nope.
Thank you, Ted.
Thanks, Tim.
Good night.
Good night. Landmarks.
We got a couple big things.
Okay, looks like Guy's coming in. All right. Okay, Guy, can you hear us? Guy?
Yep, can you hear me?
Great. Yes, okay, perfect.
Hello, everyone.
I do.
Okay, I know we're pressed for time, so I can keep things brief and dive into the Weaver property update, if that works for everyone.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I think maybe first we can walk through I thought Kevin was going to be providing an update. You know, I had done a walkthrough of the property safety situation last weekend with him. At least his feedback to me from that walkthrough was that he was comfortable with the safety measures we had taken there with restricting access to the patio, the porch area, blocking the window on Boundary Street, as well as the cover that we implemented over the cistern. So I guess one of the questions is, did Kevin provide a report, or is that on hold?
I'm looking for it now.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
There it is.
We're trying to see if he included it in the his general report, and it is not there that I see.
Okay.
Well,
Sure. All right, because I know that was one of the concerns that started this process. So I think we should be there now, and happy to continue helping getting that done. And then second to that, want to have a list of thank yous. One to the Weaver family for being so enthusiastic to supporting this process of both securing the property and taking a deep look into the history of the property and the family to potentially pursue restoration grant, which I think we can pursue. And in particular, April Hamilton, the executor, Janice Thomas, and Norval Willis, who were, I believe you met Greg when you were visiting the property. At least you met April and Norval. And I wanted to thank you for coming out and meeting them, as well as kicking this project off. I'll say I was one of those people in town who thought the best thing to do would have been to just tear down this property and help the family sell it and get their inheritance. But you know, the more I learn, and I think the more many of us have learned about the history here, it's a really valuable piece of history that's intertwined with the town, and more of that is being revealed as we go. So I think it's for anybody who's interested, they can reach out to me to learn more, and I'm continuing to develop that. I also wanted to thank Harpers Ferry Superintendent Tyrone Brandyberg for coming out and joining us with the mayor for the tour, the initial tour of the property with the Weaver family, as well as Peter Dessauer, the National Park Historic Architect. Of course, I also need to thank Christian for loaning me his chainsaw to help clear the brush, which was extremely helpful. And of course, Christian is also my rock on the Historic Landmarks Commission. I'm useless without Christian. I'm also useless without Pat. So I want to give thanks to Pat. Storm, I want to thank him for being my constant wingman in clearing out brush around the Weaver property and putting the cover on the cistern, as well as Chris Brunton, our pal and the neighbor down the street from the Weaver family, for pitching in a couple times to help us get that work done. I'd also like to thank Donnie Hampshire, my neighbor on Fillmore Street, for providing many of these large boards, probably 50 to 100 years old, that we ended up using on top of my railroad ties to cover the cistern. So big thanks to him, great guy. And of course, Kevin for coming out and doing the inspection on the weekend with me. Also wanted to thank Ed Wheelis and Maria Beckman for helping me with the historic background on the property, as well as Barbara Humes, who gave me access on multiple occasions to her archives. And so with that, I think I've covered everybody. Sorry to anyone who I've missed. But I think, to the town, I think we're at the point now, I think the Weaver family is supportive of pursuing at least one, if not more grants. There's a $500,000 restoration grant related to African-American civil rights movement that I think we could pursue. So I think we should do that. Would like to see if the town council supports reaching out to the Weaver family to seek their support in doing that. We would need a letter from the Weaver family to pursue any federal grants. So that's where we are, I think, in this stage. And I think I can provide additional data for anybody who has any questions.
Guy, do me a favor, would you send me email the listing of the attaboys that you just gave out?
Sure.
All those people, just send that to me on an email. And then the second thing I want to comment is you underestimated your own work that you've done out there. And I want to personally thank you for your initiative and your hard work and bringing this all together. I met again or spoke with the Weaver family last week, I think it was. And if nothing else out of this, I think it has even brought the Weaver family closer together as a family unit. I think that they're now realizing that their grandparents were really something special. And I think that was amazing to me. And I think a lot of it has to do with us walking over there that first time and taking pictures, and then me sending that initial letter to them. And then your efforts really took it to another level. So, Guy, job well done, my friend.
Sure. Thank you.
You've got a second item on here, or a third item, I guess.
Oh, is that, yes, our neighbor George nomination for the committee?
Yeah. So you're recommending George Owens for consideration to be appointed to the Landmarks Commission. Guy, is that correct?
I would do that. I think, I've heard, several people have voiced some concerns to me about, George's behavior on the Planning Commission. And, I have not been privy to all of that. I do take it seriously from multiple people who have contacted me about that. I've had some conversations with George about, some of these things. And I think I believe sincerely that, a lot of that was related to the, heightened emotions around the hotel. I tell you, I definitely feel like George has a passion for the history of the town and trying to be helpful. And he's tried to be helpful with topics that he knows that are on our agenda for the Historic Landmarks Commission, including the sidewalks and the lights. We are a member short on our commission. There's a lot of work to do. And, I feel like he showed some contrition to me when this was discussed with him. And he's retired. He's got the energy and the passion. He says he wants to be helpful. I think that would be a great thing, but I understand both sides. I don't know all of the background on what's been happening on the Planning Commission. So I'm putting it out there into your hands to make a decision and support it either way.
Okay. Well, the only issue that I would have is that we would have a member serving on two prominent committees or commissions. And I would have a concern regarding possible conflict of interest, because landmarks and planning many times are involved in the same issue. And if we have a same person sitting on both commissions or committees, I'm not sure that I'm settled about that. I've got a listing in front of me. I don't see any other duplications of peoples that are doubling up on another commission or committee. I looked and I can't find a violation in code for it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should go forward with it. Christian, what do you, go ahead and read what you got.
On Landmarks Commission Article 131-01B, the Historic Landmarks Commission shall be independent of the Planning Commission.
Yeah, okay.
So
That's a good point.
I had a little problem with that.
Yeah, and likewise, and the applicant has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's the fact that one person serving on both major commissions. Now, I heard that Mr. Owens's tenure is up possibly in December or January. If he, we could reconvene this guy, this request and look at it again when his tenure is up on the Planning Commission.
Sure.
I mean, you're functioning right now with yourself, Christian, Karen, and Steve, correct?
Yes, we've been we've missed Steve for the last couple meetings. I think we need to check on him and see how he's doing.
Okay. Okay, but you can, you still have a quorum and you can still function for another couple months, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that and let's see where it shakes out come December when Mr. Owens' tenure, I think, is up in December. Is that fair enough?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, again, Guy, thank you very much, and keep up the good work with the Weaver, and we'll stay focused on that.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone.
Sure. Thank you, Guy. Thank you for your amazing work.
All right, thanks.
Okay, discussion action regarding selecting an option to improve the High Street project. Okay.
All of this is the Budget and Finance Committee involved.
Yeah. Let me give. I can tell you that right now. Grace myself. We're not going to make it. All right. Let me give you the quick primer on the High Street project. We'll go back to November 2016. I worked with Region 9 and submitted a grant for what's referred to as a streetscape grant from the state of West Virginia. Was successful in securing an $80,000 grant, no match. Traveled to Charleston in January of 2017, received the grant certification from Governor Tomlin. Continued to work on that grant activity sometime in March or April of 2017. I met on High Street with Jennifer Wishmeyer from Region 9. I met with 6 officials from Department of Highways, West Virginia, including, if I'm not mistaken, the Director of Department of Highways and 4 engineers. And also one of the individuals was the chief architect that the state of West Virginia contracts with when they have projects like this. We started at the town stairway. We walked all the way down to Hog Alley. We looked at High Street, the sidewalks and everything. We turned the corner on Hog Alley, went down to Potomac, turned back around, walked back up Hog Alley, turned right on High Street and started going up. We got halfway up High Street and the head of the Department of Highways stopped. There was 8 of us assembled around him, and he turned to his fellow engineers and he said, you know something, this will be the most complicated project that we had undertaken with Streetscape Grant. So with that, the decision was made not to apply the $80,000 for an engineer study. They decided to go with a pre-engineer study and use the $80,000 for a pre-engineer study because the concept was so complicated. There were too many variables. They were not ready to go right into an engineer study. So now the time frame is May and June, the election comes about, Wayne wins the election and takes over. Then a $400,000 grant somehow or other in that tenure was approved. That consists of a 20% match, which is $80,000. And so we have a project with an $80,000 pre-engineering study approved with no match. We have on top of that $400,000 with a 20% match, which brings it down to $320,000. But we have to come up with 80 grand for that. So then the state comes up with options for the project. They submitted those options and they are waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting. They conducted a public input on this. I just have in front of me from Region 9 today. This is the update of projects. And when it gets to Harper's Ferry, it says Harper's Ferry High Street Streetscape. And it says, quote, West Virginia Department of Highways awaiting town decision on alternate to move forward with design. So they are not going to do anything. They have been waiting. This came up, Christian, with the previous administration, and I think you all decided to kick it over to this administration. So I asked, I guess, Storm and Christian hopefully met with some of you to show the options. There are 3 options that the state submitted. There is actually another option that I mentioned to Department of Highways people 2-3 weeks ago when I talked about the options. I presented the option number 4, I think. And their basic thing was, well, anything is possible, but that option, you're looking at millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I said, okay. So that's with kind of a background. So I don't know, Christian, if I've taken all your thunder or not, but I'll turn it over to you or Storm or however you want to handle this.
Well, I'll at least start because there'll be a lot of us involved in this. The budget and finance, actually, we did not know about this 80,000 per se until this. We didn't even have it in for our budget for 2022. So we're kind of caught flat-footed on this. So we feel that we want to ask for money. We want to go. We want someone to take in the state to take care of the 20%, the 80,000. And we've worked. There's a letter with the Armory Canal Trail project as well. So we want to ask for some help on this. There are more than options. There's really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. The way you break them down, if you read the report clearly, there's more than some of the options have multiple versions to them. So my opinion is whatever we do, we should have a long-term objective, and I think we need to balance. This is my talk, not the group now, but balance the preservation of our historic small town appearance while enhancing the experience and safety of the visitor, and these are mostly the pedestrians, while boosting the quality and quantity of shopping traffic for the merchants. We have to always keep the merchants in mind. So whatever option we select, it's gotta enhance the experience, but it also has to have safety. Right now, we don't have safety. This current situation we have between Hog Island and Public Street, it's unsafe, it's crowded, it's not very attractive. The iron railings and low curbing that protect visitors have deteriorated to the point where they probably aren't safeguarding the visitors properly from vehicles. And now many pedestrians walk on the street to avoid the congested sidewalk. I do it. I said something about downspouts, so don't worry about that. Storm corrected me, but we should have some method of collecting the rainwater so that we can maybe take care of our plants. We need to start looking 20 and 30 years ahead. This town is going to continue to grow as a tourist destination, and we don't want to be thinking next year or 2 years from now. We need to be thinking decades ahead. and what might transpire in this town. And I'm more geared to a pedestrian-oriented town than a vehicle-oriented town. I think the vehicles, the Park Service has already decided to move off, by having Cavalier Heights and put the vehicles up there for parking and using bus shuttles to the lower town. So I'm kind of oriented towards something that gives us more room on the sidewalks.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I share that general vision. It is a longer term vision. I think it's a travesty that this project was handled the way it was in darkness, and it's opaque how this grant was done, why the amount was done the way it was, and what it covered. You can't change the past, and it seems like right now we're faced with, this is the money we currently have. It's uncertain if we'll be able to get funding to do it in a way that will achieve the objectives, and that's what I'm focused on, both short term and long term. Is can we have something that will improve the safety for pedestrians and still maintain the historic character of that street? And when I look at these three options, none of them will achieve both of those objectives. If some of them will fix it up the way it is, and that might be the best we can do short term, just to fix the railing, have it not be crumbling. But the other options, the one that should, well, Christian, I know that you have the whole pros and cons.
You want me to
walk through that?
Should we walk through them real quick?
Yeah.
We tried to get this out. We were talking about it over the weekend, but option one, you did the chart, so I'll just do it. 1B, that's repairing the existing features, sidewalks and roadway unchanged, but close the street at peak tourist hours. By the way, I looked at that at length doing that, and that is I don't think it's workable. It's very complicated to do. It's low cost, but just close the street on weekends. But it's complicated and it's going to require a lot of labor and all, and I don't think it's a viable option. So I just wanted to, that's one of the options. Then there was, what happened to 1A? Maybe I didn't do it. Oh, 1A, let me just go down Storm's list. So then there was 2A, reduced to one-way traffic and install barriers between the north and south lanes to provide a pedestrian way along the north traffic lane. That one, I don't know. That's the one-way traffic. There's another version, I think, that's more expensive that we might want to talk about, and that would be to do 2B, and that's to reduce it one way, but excavate the north side street, which would give us the most space, up to 8 feet.
But would be a substantial deviation from any historical.
I totally agree. We can also shift the roadway, option 3, and widen the sidewalk. That's going to require approval from the National Park Service. We need 2 feet of their property. We need an easement for the state to move over. We really need that. If we could get that from the National Park Service, then that would give us 2 more feet of pedestrian room. Right now, I don't think this walkway we have is ADA compliant from the width standpoint. There's some choke points in it near Hog Alley, near the end. And I can tell you the last town council was heavily involved in this because of COVID. We had to keep the 6-foot separation. We were like, how are we going to do that with everybody choking in through a funnel going down through Lower Town? So we've got to get more sidewalk space. And then there was option 4, which Storm has been working on, and has removed the existing road and rebuilding it to the new old grade.
Closer to the old grade. It's uncertain where that is. And for certain, that is an expensive proposition. But I wonder if the Park Service might actually be eager to do that, and funding could be secured through there as well, if it means bringing the appearance of Lower Town closer to the time period that they've modeled the rest of the town. That said, we're kind of in the middle of this period where we don't know what's happening with funding. And I don't know, Mr. Mayor, what your feeling is about if we should be making these kinds of plans now, where we have a chance at potentially securing that kind of funding, or if the best we can do at this time is just to fix it the way it is, and make those plans with more community input. That's something that I don't feel was done in this past stretch when this was determined.
Unfortunately, a lot of community doesn't go into Lower Town.
Storm, I know this High Street's outside Park Service venue, but I've worked with Tyrone for a long time. I don't think it would hurt for 1, 2, or 3 of us to go to him and say, let's take a walk with us. You have the one that's a new Department of Interior had, and it's not as impressive as it was in the past administration. And I think if we went to original grade, I think they might look favorably upon it with helping us. It couldn't hurt. I've been willing to contact Tyrone and ask them to take a walk until it wants to go with us.
I mean, we've got to do something. We've been kicking, this can down the road. And the DOH is going from one foot to the other. They want something from Harper Center. They feel that they've done their job. They turned it over to the town back in whenever it was. Kevin and Christian were on the council. And unfortunately or fortunately, nothing has been done. And DOH, we need to stay on their side, their right side, because they're a big asset to the town. I can tell you that when I was down there with the engineer 3 weeks ago, talking about the 2 foot, whatever that option was,
Shifting the road 2 feet.
Yeah, shifting the road 2 feet.
Yeah.
Even though that falls within the West Virginia right of way, that 2 foot is West Virginia's right of way. They still have to deal with the U.S. government National Park Service. And those of you that may or may not have ever worked with the federal government, getting a 2 foot right of way or getting a parcel of land like that is just an incredible job to do. I mean, we're looking at major.
Inches.
I mean, I tried to get 8 and 11 inches. 11 inches wide, 3 feet long, that's all. I was not successful in getting it, not successful. So that's why the power plants down on Potomac Street sit on the sidewalk, because we couldn't get into the berm. It's a difficult task, and DOH realizes that, but we have to do something.
Well, I've written something here. I'm not going to do it as a motion. even though
Well,
I wrote
before
it as
you
a
do
motion.
that, Kevin had his hand up. Go ahead, Kevin.
I just want to clarify, when you're talking about rebuilding to the old grade, you're talking about the slope or the alignment?
The slope.
Potentially the alignment. And this is something that I would ask is to not forestall the possibility of something that could really, I think, be a huge benefit to the town if we are able to do it. Do you believe we have enough time that we could take that walk with Superintendent Brandenburg in order to see if that's even a possibility? And if it's not a possibility now, to see if it might be in the future.
I think we should explore it.
Well,
Go ahead, first.
I've written something here. I think what we want is this, and I'm not going to say the motion until we're ready, but we want the existing High Street and rebuilding of a new 2-lane road on the original grade, or as best as we can. We want to shift the roadway and widen the sidewalk, and we want to install a safety pedestrian barrier between the street and the sidewalk, with the stipulation that the Park Service allow an easement of 2 feet. And I say we give them so many months, like 6 months, to go through there. And I'm just being nice about it, but I think the optimal one is going to be option 2B, is to go to one way where we'll have 8 feet. When you look at this diagram here, how much more sidewalk we get. I mean, it's huge in option 2. It's 8 feet.
Are you talking about the option where it's one way, but
One way.
not changing the grade? Correct.
Removing that part of the street, excavating the street along the sidewalk and making them fairly comparable.
So you would move the black pipe all the way over to the center line. And then the center line now to the black pipe would go down 2
Yes.
feet.
2 feet.
Okay.
Or whatever it is, get it level and with the sidewalk, it would get us close to the next step, which would be the grade.
It would, but it would look unlike anything past or present, and out of character with Lower Town.
And I'm not saying it's perfect, but we can allow a place for vehicles to stop up near what's the?
Top of the stairs.
Well, just short of the stairs.
Close to Radical.
Radical is a pull-off area.
Mhm.
So that would be the pull-off area for takeout, delivery, and that kind of stuff. Deliveries, and then if we have the road wider, I mean, we'll just have more room for pedestrians. It'll be a pain because nobody will be able to go down to Lower Town anymore. They want to, by vehicle.
Yeah, you can go down, but you can't go up.
No, it's going to be the other way. Oh, down. So what? So you go down. So now that creates a traffic problem off Shenandoah.
Right. You'd have to, again, we're dealing with the Park Service because the only safe way would be bring people out Shoreline Drive coming out of Cavalier Heights.
Or else have a light at Shenandoah.
Yeah.
Onto the highway. Yeah, I think the issues with the traffic and also with the shuttle, because we ought to be talking about some kind of a bus or shuttle that can bring people down to the business district as well as the park. I think those are going to involve the park, the state, and I don't think we can decide that tonight. What my inclination is to go with that first option of upgrading what we have now on the sidewalk. It's not going to solve the pedestrian problem, but at least it'll look nicer. And then commit ourselves to really start a serious look at what the options are for the traffic and a shuttle.
Yeah. I feel the same way, but I still do feel like we'll know if we take that walk with the superintendent, and it's just no way in heck will that happen anytime soon. And it is kicking the can, but it's a short kick. Well, not even all the way down the block, maybe kicking at a couple of storefronts just to do this amount of additional due diligence.
I think I should call you tomorrow morning and say we want to take a walk. And if you could have your slideshow there, that'd be very good.
He's not the one that makes the decision. It's made much higher.
I know that. What I'm saying is the Department of Interior is much more.
We need that person. We don't need the superintendent. He's already said no to it. I've seen his letter.
Well, he'll be able to give us a read because he understands the organization.
We need somebody.
I don't think it would hurt us.
It's more time.
Well, that'd be my time. Maybe start something.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I agree with Chris. Like if they come back to us and say, right now, tell us, I would feel the same way that given these circumstances, we can't change the past, just fixing it back up and giving ourselves a shot at doing it right for the future.
It's a no-win. This whole thing is a no-win.
Go the action route.
There's no there's no good option. No good.
And to some extent, that's because of the geography of Harper's Ferry and that we have,
Limited space.
hundreds of thousands of people
That's
coming
right.
into this
And
little
we're not-
18th century town.
And we're not ADA oriented at all. Matter of fact, we just had the state in here last month. I spent hours with this lady from the state. We're gonna try to make our ramps from our the streets up to the sidewalk ADA compliant. We really need to get that compliant down.
The other thing, that we could ask the state to look at is there a way, as they do the upgrade, to maybe allow for some kind of a movable barrier that on busy weekends could go out to that center lane, and we could make it one way just on the busy weekends or the.
And that's one of the things that the full downgrade would allow different configurations of the road.
Yeah.
And that's, again, there's no way we can make that decision.
Well, Winchester's, I went to Winchester a couple of weeks ago, and they have a walk-in part of their town where you, forgot where it is exactly. It's a couple blocks of shopping area, and they actually, I took pictures of it, and they have movable barriers. These are like, they're, what do you call those, metal? Bollards. They're bollards, but they move. They can be moved, and then they're blocked, and then they can be opened up. So that technology is there.
I want to just comment that I've told some of you this, that the water utility had to get a right of way for our pipes that carry the water from the plant to the town, because it goes through parkland. And that request for that right of way had to go all the way to the director of the National Park Service. And it did take a while, but, and there were people who said, you'll never get it. They'll give you 10 years. They're not going to give you 40 years. But under Andrew Lee's shepherding, it did succeed. So I think if they are highly motivated, and when I say they want the water, right?
Right.
We need the water. It can happen. I wouldn't give up.
And that's my feeling or my hope. It's not based on, again, I haven't had direct communication, but if the park sees it in their interests in developing the park in the long-term future for the park itself, that it's something that they want, they may be able to help us solve this.
Right, because they have the numbers too.
ask.
Yeah, and they have their numbers too. They're keeping numbers of visitors, and they know that number's going up too. So you're right.
All right, Jim, you made a contact with Tyrone. Ask Tyrone if you would include Andrew Lee. I mean, we might as well just nip it in the bud right now, do it off, include a storm if this schedule will permit. Now, let me go back to the threshold question. West Virginia Department of Highways is awaiting town decision on alternate to move forward with the zone. What am I going to tell Region 9 to tell West Virginia DOH? Waiting for a town decision on one of those three options.
I believe we will have an answer for them after we have this walk with the superintendent and Andrew.
Okay, and I'm the superintendent, and I'm walking down and I say, no, it's not going to happen. So then I will wait again. West Virginia is waiting on a decision from the town. What are we going to tell the town? What are we going to tell DOH?
I believe it's option one, which is to just replace and make nice what we have, as Chris also was. That's mine.
We just need to be prepared, because I don't think, just my pessimism, as a former government employee, that how the system works. It is rigor mortis in motion. Okay, so Jim, you will try to make contact with Tyrone. Ask to include Andrew and see if you can. Andrew Lee. And Deb, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
I just, that last part that you were talking about, I still didn't hear about the money. Still, the money is still.
The 80,000.
Yeah.
So we were going to write a letter to our representatives in the county and in the state. And that's what this letter is
Subject of
about.
the letter would be, what do you paraphrase the letter for?
It is securing, it's securing matching funds. And this is why I asked that the Armory Canal be brought into this as well.
Okay.
I can read the letter, or if you just want a summary, basically that we're a town of fewer than 300 people, and we're being asked to provide matching funds as if we were a town of 10,000 or 40,000 or 100,000. When these are really things that even more, they do benefit the town, but even more than that, they benefit the 300,000 or so people that visit us every year. And that it's not unreasonable, given the tax revenue that this town really helps drive Jefferson County. About 1/3 of the tax dollars as of 2018 that were brought to the state, that we not be asked to bear that proportion of the burden.
Okay, so you want to do both the trail and High Street.
The trail, and the trail, they said they weren't gonna charge, right? They weren't gonna hit us up with a number, and then they hit us up with 116,000. I mean,
Yeah, it kind of, the two issues we thought would be advantageous for us to combine. So if you want a little presentation on the trail, we can talk about that.
But they both have money sitting there. I mean, all they have to do is to throw a little bit of money towards it.
Who's the signatory on that?
We were imagining it was going to be from the mayor and town council.
To who?
Let me give you a little bit of background. The trail issue is that we have this federal grant for over $500,000 to be spent in Harper's Ferry to develop the Armory Canal Trail along Potomac Street Extended. And that flap grants are the most generous federal grants. They only require a 20% match, but that's still $116,000 for us, plus a little bit. And so we looked at the budget, and there's just no way that this 80,000 and this 116,000 are going to be squeezed out of this and that account. And they also, when you divide out by our town population, together they are more than $500 per citizen. I was dealing on the trail issue with Rails and Trails Conservancy in Washington, had some good advice, but the woman there, Kelly Pack, expressed frustration that this keeps coming up in West Virginia on federal grants, that little towns the state is not helping the little towns come up with the matching money on federal grants needed.
Should be a loan program, something to help.
And so, and we also, I also visited with her about, is there a bank or some kind of private foundation that can provide loans or grants to little towns? There's nothing really like that. So she did recommend that what we really do is talk to our state and county legislators about particularly the relief funding out there that we already have appealed. But we thought that rather than cast this big appeal like we have already, to concentrate on these two projects that are going to be lost if we don't come up with this matching money. And so that's what this letter is about.
There's also a compelling public safety component to the Armory Canal Trail. And I don't know, there may be other avenues that our officials can help with on that. That currently there is only one route that first responders could take. Let's say Route 340 was shut down. Well, that's it. If something happens, there is no way to get to Lower Town. If there's a fire on the scale of 2015 or worse, or some other incident in Lower Town, we're just getting emergency vehicles. That's just a non-starter. And that, Chris, you're saying that
The Armory
components.
Canal Trail is imperative. We need that for safety for this community. We have no way of getting emergency equipment in here. 340 can easily be blocked today. You notice the kind of traffic we get out there.
And so, Mayor, we start with a letter, but also I think it's going to involve sitting down with our county commissioners, with our state senator, with our state representative. I've already talked to John Doyle about it, and he's anxious to hear more. He thought that Senator Rucker could be possibly very helpful for us. So,
give me a copy of that. Double space. Okay. Because my experience in dealing with these things with the federal government, I can tell you just by looking at that, not even reading it, it's too long. You're gonna have to wind it down because we want to get the right person. And the right person, they don't need 2 pages. I'm telling you that right now, they do not, and even their assistants don't want to see 2 pages or 2.5 pages. Right, Kevin? They want a synopsis. They want, exactly, they want an executive summary and those kinds of things. And so that's why I'm saying, get me a copy of that in double space.
Okay.
All right.
And we'll see, we did try to organize it. Storm had this idea to put the summary up front, and then with more details about the Armory Canal, which is complete, and the High Street project, which is incomplete because we talked
Sometimes
about.
they won't even get to the details. They won't get past an executive summary.
Yeah.
Take it from them, and just do their experience. Okay, so what are we doing now? So let me try to recap. We're gonna get me a copy of the letter. We're gonna try to do that. Jim, you're gonna make a call tomorrow with Tyrone, see if we can get Andrew Lee, get Storm involved.
Who's Andrew Lee?
Pardon?
Who's Andrew Lee?
Andrew Lee is the person who knows everything there is to know about land matters in Harper's Ferry. He knows the exact inch where the town boundary ends and the park boundary begins. So he's the man.
He's a Bolivar resident, lives on Union Street.
Yeah, good guy. So where was I? So we got that, we've got that. We've got the fail safe that everything falls apart. We'll talk about, but I think we may want to take a look at the only viable thing, unfortunately, is, get the daggone black pipe out of there and do something with that. And, because it's just, it's very complicated and no good option. Okay.
Does the council need to take any action to write a letter and to have these meetings to move forward on this?
These are just assignments from the mayor.
Yeah, okay.
Please happen.
Yeah, because we're really not taking any action, any official action right now.
Snow, we do have new business.
Let's go to new business, discussion action, snow removal bidding contract. Is that yours?
A little bit, yeah, I got involved in it and 2 years, well, last year we had a run this year of snow. We spent $52,600. I think we were budgeted for 25. Year before we were budgeted for about the same, and we didn't use it. But last year we went way over the top. So we had a long discussion in budget and finance about it. The prior councils in the past have studied the option where we would do our own snow removal. But as we got more into the details, especially with Deb's background, we found that that's really a complicated issue, and it probably would make sense for us to contract it out, snow removal. But Chris came up with a pretty interesting idea, and that was the snow removal on sidewalks, that maybe our people can do that. And that would, right now, last year, we spent $8,000 on removing snow from sidewalks. And then that was the mayor's discretion to do that. And the mayor Bishop did that, and I concurred with that. I think people on Washington Street who live there, you have to put up with a lot of traffic and people and all that. So I'm a big believer in helping them out. And even though our ordinance does say that the owner of the property is to clear the snow within 8 hours, something like that, I doubt it would be 30% that might happen. So I thought Mayor Bishop's thing of clearing, and Cornerstone cleared all the sidewalks very well. I heard many public positive comments about how clear it was. There was no ice, it was safe. And we need that for a tourist town, for visitors, and as well as our residents. So so last year we spent 15% of the budget, or $8,000, on snow removal of the sidewalks. And I'm just thinking that maybe we obviously put it out for contract for the streets, but look at our people, the waterworks people who don't work. When there's a snowstorm, I understand the plants, the workers are working.
I'm not sure that's totally accurate. They're making water. And if the pipe breaks, I mean, and there's 3 feet of snow, they go into 3 feet of snow and fix the pipe. I don't think, at least I hope not, that they're sitting around, playing the harps at the water plant when it's snowing out. I don't think that's the case.
They're Jim guys. Sorry.
We really just need to bring in Chris Steyer and
Yeah.
the water plant
Yeah.
into the discussion.
Sure.
to this guy.
And I'm not sure, Christian, whether we have sidewalk snow removal equipment. Do
I
we?
don't know either. I don't know if we have a snow, that's a piece of equipment we might have to buy if we don't have it, but is a snow.
It's a snow blower, but it's gonna have to be commercial grade.
Of course.
It can't be the mom and pop kind you get at Lowe's.
Well, I'm just looking for
Yeah, I
a
mean,
way
that's
to
a fine-
reduce,
that's a good
reduce
option.
expense. We spent 15% of our snow budget, expense last year was on sidewalks alone. And the other reason, stuff's a little expensive. We have multiple stores, but also we need people to be clear the streets. And we need our shoulders clear so that we can get parking back in again, generating revenue. We cannot have snow. Clearing streets important, but we also need the street along the curbs.
Right. Deb, did you want to add something?
I would just, as this is explored and it sounds like simultaneously we'll be looking for bids. I don't think you said this specifically, but I just want to make sure that I feel like we should not exclude that from our bid package. I always want to have it as a backup because if you do run into a situation where they need to do it, if they were to be assigned it, So anyway, I just want to make sure that piece.
The reason the snow removal sidewalks is a little expensive because they have to go out when it starts first snowing like a couple inches, they clear. But if it's still snowing, they have to go back out. They don't wait till the end of the storm to
Well, it does
clear.
depend on the storm itself.
Right, it does,
so
and that's
if
why
it's
people.
gonna be a 6-inch storm, that's one thing, but if it's gonna be 25 inches, they don't want to wait till there's 25 inches.
Correct, and so that's why you'll see them out there repeatedly. And they also, Cornerstone had the contract for the Park Service, clearing their lots, and people were thinking they were clearing the wrong lots. Well, they were contracted to do that.
So we're not looking at any action tonight?
No.
Okay, but I'll tell you, middle of November will be here before we blink.
But is this already gone out? This?
No, has not.
Okay.
I think isn't that what you're to approve, that you're gonna send it out?
I did see that 2021, that happened.
Yeah, but are we ready, excuse me, to approve the current scope of work that was done in 2019? Because,
I had that, forgot which one.
because we're not gonna have Christian getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and going out and monitoring snow. I've already talked with John Brown, and I'm thinking that this responsibility should fall on the police department, when to call in, when to call back. They're the guys that are out there riding around. They know when there's ice on a street. So they'll know, okay, I need to get so-and-so over here on this, that, or the other. And I've talked with John about that. And he's willing to give it a shot. So instead of it falling, everything fell on you last year, Christian, which was unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, but I do have a request for proposal here that we should be sending out. The time is now, right? I mean, we had a hard time getting somebody last year because Mr. Root, not Root, no, Snoops. Yeah, he did it for years and years and years, and then he retired. And then, so we were scrambling in the town council to get a company. And finally, we got a bit acceptable bid from Cornerstone.
So do we indeed have a motion to set this?
Yes.
Well, before you get to the motion, so
That's what
this is the 2019, so we have to change the date, but there's some things, and I think Deb and I talked, or maybe it was Patty and I this morning. We supplied salt last year. Is that correct, Debbie? We did not. Okay.
We have salt, but Larry uses it around.
We were
town
just
hall.
using it.
That's just a finite amount.
A little bit,
We've not, we, this is one of the tentacles of thinking about doing it on your own. I mean, these guys who are contracting it, they've got multiple contracts. They have a place where they can have a lot of salt. So they usually want to provide their own.
Do you feel that would also be the same for the sidewalk component, or would that be manageable?
It's sidewalk salt is a separate, I believe, and I don't.
It's probably not
They
that.
have two different, in that particular contract, they have two different ways they describe salt by bag and by ton. So I'm gonna assume that by bag meant on the sidewalk.
It does.
If we chose to do it on our own, it doesn't mean that we couldn't get our own salt by the bag to do that, but just remember, that's a whole thing that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get a motion to put out this request for proposal. We'll change the date at the top for to be 2021. Kristen.
The only thing that this
USP
doesn't talk about, it doesn't mention anything about the snow removal on sidewalks. And they got surprised, I think, last year because they didn't know. And so they had to hire all kinds of people. It takes a lot of labor to do sidewalks. It's not a machine. They did it by shovel and bags of salt. So I don't see that.
Because that's 2 years old or rather than 1 year old?
No, it was the mayor's discretion on clearing sidewalks. The mayor can declare that. And Mayor Bishop must have done that on his own.
Okay, well, number 5 says contractor must have access to commercial snow blower.
Oh.
In the event the town sidewalks need to be cleared.
Oh, I missed that.
Okay.
Okay, no, I think this is good then.
All right, so, Debbie, unless you see something glaring in here, we'll just change the date at the top and let's get this thing out.
Yeah, I move that we send out a request for proposal for snow plowing for 2021-22 season. And put the notice in the Journal and the Spirit for the next 3 weeks.
Second on the motion. Jim's got a second. Any discussion on the motion?
Does it really need to be in both papers?
We need, if you want to get.
Yeah, you want to get
competitive.
It's tough to get it.
And in fact, I'm wondering if we can think of further ways to spread the word.
Yeah.
I don't know that needs to be.
I honestly think Mayor Bishop actually visited Cornerstone. I think he had to eventually go call him up or something, I believe.
Yeah, we had, yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to, but we have to put it out to bid in the public. And in a bigger paper is, the Spirit is our go-to paper. Correct. But the Journal would be a broader paper.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Motion carries.
This is the next one's Patty's.
Discussion and action approval of 4-month. Yeah, this is, the town has been contacted by U.S. Postal Service. They want to rent for 4 months the liquor store. And they're willing to pay
$300.
how much?
300.
300 a month?
Yeah.
Okay, which is, I forget what the square footage is. And they're taking it as is. If you have not been in the liquor store, I would not recommend you go into the liquor store. I mean, it's not in good shape. Anyway, we just need to.
The prior town council also pushed this off for this council. It was thought that this space could be used potentially by the town or the waterworks.
It needs some work.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it needs some work. Yeah.
But it's short term.
That's short term.
Well, we
I think they're only going to use it to store some of their, I guess, the holiday packages or what. I mean, I'm just guessing what it is. But there's not going to be anybody assigned or working in there. They're just going to be putting boxes, similar to probably what they did with the trailer or something out there that the liquor store built. They saved all that stuff. I would be looking for a motion to approve to enter into this short-term lease agreement for $300 a month with Postal Service, and they're taking it as is. They don't want anything done with it.
So it sounds like a very inexpensive price, but it's also not requiring us to spend anything to get it ready.
And I don't think we have any need for the space ourselves at this time.
4 months.
Do we have any liability that's not ours covered?
Well, it should be the same liability that the liquor store probably had. And the Postal Service, they're self-insured, so.
Okay, so if someone drops a box on their foot, breaks their foot, that's their problem.
Right. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for that.
I move that we rent the liquor store to the park, to the post office, 4 months, for $300 a month.
For the liquor store.
Excuse me. 4 months. Pardon me.
Second.
I'm trying to keep in business.
We have a motion and a second to enter into a lease agreement with the United States Postal Service for the former liquor store. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand.
We're done. Oh, other than the motion.
Regarding possible alternatives for matching funding. Okay, we're good.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second on the motion to adjourn? We have a second from Christian on the discussion on the motion. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. We're adjourned at 9:31. 31 minutes short.
If you back out the tech time, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, not too bad.
Sorry.
Okay.